In today's gospel, Jesus stands before Pilate, who says to him, "Then you are a king." Jesus tells Pilate, "You say I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth." That was the stated purpose of Jesus' life. He had a goal for his life, a reason for being, a mission to perform, a work to accomplish. Jesus then throws down a great challenge we all need to hear. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice. After Jesus' death and resurrection, it was the job of the gospel writers to tell the truth about Jesus, to tell the truth about how Jesus carried out his mission to bear witness to the truth. Christ, our King, came to reveal to us the whole truth and nothing but the truth about God's kingdom. The basic truth he wants us to take to heart is to understand we are all God's beloved children. Each person, from the littlest one in the womb to the oldest one among us, count before God. We matter before God. We are each someone before God. Each of us, without exception, is a unique masterwork of the Creator. Because God willed us into being, each of us is essential to the fulfillment of God's creative design. To know and understand the truth of life's meaning and purpose, we must recognize the truth of our own worth. To imagine a world into which we were not born is to imagine a different world than the one God had in mind. If we are to be true to our goal, we must first of all allow truth to ourselves. We must recognize ourselves to be one of a kind, irreplaceable, priceless gems of God's creation that we are each called to be. Understanding who we are is the necessary precondition to understanding what each of us is to become. A tennis professional was giving a lesson to a brand new student of the game. After watching the student take several swings at the tennis ball, he began to suggest different ways in which the student's swing might be improved. But each time a suggestion was made, the student would interrupt with his own version of what was wrong and how he would correct it. After several such interruptions, the pro began to nod his head in agreement. When the lesson was ended, a woman who had been watching asked the pro, "Why did you go along with that arrogant man's stupid suggestions?" The old pro smiled and said, "I learned a long time ago that it is a sheer waste of time to try to sell answers to a person who just wants to buy echoes. Everyone who is a seeker of truth hears my voice, Jesus says to us. And so, we ask ourselves, do we want to hear answers from Jesus about who we are and what we ought to do? Or do we just want to hear the sound of our own voice? That is, do we just want to hear our own echoes? Jesus is telling us that something new is now at work in human history. Death itself has been conquered, and no terror on earth can intimidate or defeat those who live in the Lord by faith. The same God who brought Jesus from death into new life will also resurrect from the defeats of history every word and work and thought offered in obedience to his Son, who taught us that to love is to live. George Washington Carver, the black scientist who achieved wonders with the humble peanut, often told this story about himself. When I was young, I said to God, God, tell me the mystery of the universe. But God answered, that knowledge is reserved for me alone. So I said, God, tell me then the mystery of the peanut. Then God said, well, George, that's more nearly your size. So he told me. Jesus has told us the reason I came into the world is to bear witness to the truth. The Lord was speaking for us and about us as well. We are in this world to bear witness to the truth in matters that are more nearly our size, as George Washington Carver would put it. On the question of what ails our modern society, our witness and our love is needed. On the great political and social questions of our times, our witness and our love is needed. On questions of family relationships and work relationships, our witness and our love is needed. Jesus has spoken to us repeatedly on all of these matters. Love one another as I have loved you. That is, love one another with a God-like love, relentlessly, faithfully, selflessly, forgivingly. We don't have time to waste listening to our own echoes. We hear the truth, for God speaks only the truth. Our job is to act on God's truth, and that is the honest truth. And yes, we can handle the truth. Amen.